Okay, so this video lecture is the continuation for our Module 1, still under the principles of taxation. So we are now in our second topic about the state powers. Okay, so state powers, this is the inherent powers of the state, meaning every government or state or sovereign, they have this types or they have these powers to impose to their citizen or to the society. So it means that as long as the state exists, this power can never be taken away. So meaning it is already attached and normal for every government or state to have these powers or state powers. Okay, so we have here the following. Basically, we have three inherent powers of the state. So the first is power of taxation. So that's why we have taxes. Okay. The power of taxation, this is an inherent power of the state that is exercised through the legislature to impose burden. Actually, that is not a burden. Taxes, okay, upon subjects and objects within its jurisdiction for the purpose of raising the revenues to carry out the legitimate function or objects of the government. So in this case, again, this power of the state to tax their citizens or any that may be imposed of this taxation, again, just like what we have mentioned in our concepts and bases, the purpose of this is so that the government can raise their funds and they can use these funds to carry out their functions and to fund or provide budgets for the projects, okay, of the government for the welfare of the citizens and the society. Okay, so again, under the power of taxation, this is exercised through the legislature. So that's why we have the tax laws. Okay, so the scope of this is to impose burden upon subject and objects within its jurisdiction. When you say to impose burden, it's a payment or obligation. Okay, so the purpose again of taxation is to raise the revenue or fund to carry out the government's projects and functions. Okay, so revenue objectivity. This is, revenue objective. So this is to build a just and human society and to establish a government under certain ideals and aspirations. So again, the reason behind for imposing taxes is to raise fund for the government. What about sumptuary objective? So here, this is an implement of the police power of the state for regulatory purposes. So in this case, it is used to furtherance of any government objective, either as an incentive or deterrence. So as an implement, the generation of revenue is merely incidental or in furtherance thereof. So meaning, this is the taxes are imposed and an obligation of every citizen. Okay, so again, the purpose is to raise funds for the government. What about compensatory? So here, for social justice purpose. So again, this is just the objective why taxes are being collected. So again, the main objective here is to use this fund to support the government, okay, in any of their functions. So what about the second state power of the state? So aside from the power of taxation, the government also has police power. Okay, so this is the second power of the state. So in this case, this is the power vested in the legislator also by the Constitution to make, ordain, and establish all manner of wholesome and reasonable laws, statutes, and ordinances, okay, either with penalties or without, not repugnant to the Constitution for the good and welfare of the state. So, meaning police power. This is based on the legal maxim that the voice of the people is the supreme law. But, however, it has limitations. And here, every citizen of the community in a civilized society must bear certain burdens imposed for the good of all. Okay, so here, this is just in short, when we say police power, this is the obligation of the state to provide protection for its citizens. That is the main, or this is how we define police power. Again, police power is the power or the obligation of the state to provide protection for its citizens and the safety and good order of the society. That's why we have laws, which if you will violate it, you will be fined, or you will pay for penalty, for damages, or even be imprisoned. Okay, so that is police power is all about. Okay, and the last or the next or the third power of the state is power of eminent domain. Okay, so again, we have the to review, we have the power of taxation, police power, and the third is power of eminent domain. So these are the three inherent powers of the state. For eminent domain, this is the right of the state to acquire private property for public use upon payment of just compensation and observance of due process. So under the eminent domain, meaning to say, in other words, for example, a person owns a private property, and that private property's location, the government needs to construct a road along that property. So in this case, what the government will do is to buy that property from the owner, whether he likes it or not, I think. Because in this case, that location really needs the government for the construction of the road. So here, the government will pay just and equitable amount of money to purchase that property from the private person owning that property. Okay, so again, this is the purpose of purchasing that private property is to use it for public use. Okay, so that is power of eminent domain. Okay, meaning the government can purchase any private property. The purpose of this is to use it for public use and safety. Okay, so we have the requisites under the power of eminent domain. So there must be taking of the property, public or private property. It must be used for public use. There must be just compensation, meaning it's a purchase of the property and not just taking without any payment. Okay, and there should be a due process of law that must be observed in taking the property. Okay, so this should be taken note of in exercising the power of eminent domain. So those are the three inherent powers of the state. So we have the power of taxation, police power. So again, when we say power of taxation, so this is the obligation that is imposed to every person or property or object, okay, that we have to pay taxes so that the government will raise its funds to be used for their projects and other purposes for the welfare of the citizen and the society. Second state power is police power. So this is the obligation of the state to protect its citizens and to maintain order and safety. in the society. And the third is power of eminent domain. So this is the right of the state to acquire or purchase the private property for public use upon payment of just uh, compensation and observing due process. Okay, so those are the three state or inherent state powers.